Sugar, who is our guest, was at this protest outside the Scottish Parliament, and it's gone like global viral, basically. And we were discussing about the reactions from the gender criticals, and obviously they are horrible. They are the most vile, horrible people you'll ever interact with, but they are also stupid. And there was one reaction that I saw shortly after this from our friend Graham Linehan, which, like, genuinely, it was so ridiculous. I don't know if you had the same experience, Sugar, but it was so, like, clownishly stupid that I thought, because I just saw a screenshot on Blue Sky, I thought, I just instantly thought, this is fake. Someone has faked this, and I am angry that someone has faked something this stupid, because we don't need to fake stupid things from the gender criticals. And I literally, I can't remember who it was. I clicked on the thing and I went on his Twitter and I searched for it, and I was like, I just need to check, but I'm going to come and tell her to fucking delete this straight away. And then I found it, and it was real. And I was like, what? So let's have a look. Let's just see. So this is Graham Linehan discussing the photo. He's posted the uncensored version. I have cropped it off, but I assure you it's just the same photo we've just looking at. And he says, "Oh my God, uncensored pic of the boob protest. Is it just me, or is there an actual woman in here pretending to be a trans woman? Because men are easy to spot."
It's honestly like he's trying to write as a parody of himself. It's just...
like, absolutely incredible. So it's like the whole point of your protest was saying, we're just the same as any other women, and you know, this everything that they tell you about us isn't true. We're just ordinary people having a, like, stand out. And also, I guess, raising the point that if we're forced into men's changing rooms, then there's just going to be a naked woman in the men's changing rooms with your husband or whatever. So, and then he's like, his whole thing is, no.
It's just collapsed. He's just broken his own argument with one tweet. It's the stupidest thing.
It's just, what's so incredible about it to me is there's always this, like, argument of, are they stupid or are they evil, or is it both? And it's really hard to tell a lot of the time, because they do pretend to be stupid and they do say evil things in a stupid way, and it's hard to know. But I've always, like, kind of believed that a lot of them know that they can't always tell who is trans and cis. Like, Dr. Stock has written about it in her book or whatever, saying, oh, well, some cis women will just be victims of transphobic transvestigation, and that's just a price we'll pay, you know.
Yeah, that I never understood that. You can't call yourself a feminist if you are willing to throw even any percentage of women under the bus. You can't call yourself a feminist if you're saying that is a necessary sacrifice to stop women being assaulted or worse. Then that you're not a feminist. That is not feminism. And you can't. And then at that point, you can't even use that to thinly disguise hate, because it is so obviously just hate at that point.
And even if it was something like, oh, if we could sacrifice 1% of women on Earth to, like, cure all cancer or something, you'd be like, okay, there's a moral argument here, whether we can justify. But this is, we are sacrificing the safety of some percentage of women in the UK in order to stop trans women using the toilet at work, which doesn't actually benefit anyone in any way at all. Completely nonsense. But yeah, I've always thought, like, are they stupid? Are they evil? Dr. Stock, probably evil, but also stupid. But here, it's not just that he said something stupid like, you know, oh, we can always tell who's trans or whatever, when he obviously can't. But he's just, like, just tweeted out, like, I'm an idiot. My whole argument is wrong. And he's not even realised it. Like, he's not even realised how stupid this comment is. Like, genuinely incredible. Yeah, what was your reaction when you first saw that? Like, I was genuinely speechless. I like drafted out a tweet, like, and then deleted it and drafted another one. I was just like, I don't know what to write.
So I came across this one on Twitter. Somebody had tagged me in it. I didn't see it on Blue Sky. But I had thought that it was him making a joke. Like, I didn't think he was being serious. I thought I was gonna click on the comments, and his next comment was gonna be, Scribs, you know? That's what I thought. I thought that's what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a nut joke. But no, I looked in the comments and it's just him engaging with his followers in the exact same way and trying to reinforce that I'm some sort of cisgender plant, like that big trans is now like planting cis women into protests in order to, you know, I don't know, undermine the agenda, whatever they're thinking.
It shows that it does, like, having normal, ordinary trans women there does undermine their agenda, because they were so upset about it that they've had to cisvestigate you, which is incredible. I think being cisvestigated is the dream, really, isn't it?
I mean, I think I'm the first. Am I the first person to be cisvestigated by Graham Linehan? I mean, it's kind of an honor, but like it's also just they have no basis in argument now. When they say we can always tell, they can't. They really can't. Like, and as soon as you get to a point where they think that you pass, you're immediately not trans anymore. Your voice no longer counts in the trans argument because they can't justify you being trans and not looking like the stereotype they have in their head.
Yeah, exactly. Or, the stereotype that they desperately try and create all the time by like a classic thing, particularly on Twitter, is you'll post a selfie or something. I mean, I'm not posting selfies on Twitter anymore, but before it totally Nazi'd out, post a selfie on Twitter and then they'll post some cartoon of like some extreme stereotype with like it's always got hairy legs and like as if
and the hairy chest, hairy chest is the other one, and then it's like as if, you know, fair play if you are comfortable with your body hair and you own it, amazing. But if you are a trans woman and you don't like your body hair, of course you're going to shave it. So like why they would even
same with cis women. Like cis women have hairy legs too, you know, like that is a natural part of being a human, and lots of women in the UK shave it, trans and cis, but not all of them do. It's just such a clownish stereotype. And my response to them is always like, yeah, looks just like me, mate. Like, well done.
You're so spot on. The AI you use really captured everything.
Yeah, it's just incredibly cringe. But yeah, there was also a Pink News article about this. I haven't seen this article yet. Is it worth reading? It sounded like you thought it might be.
Yeah, it's quite funny. They start off with the whole transvestigating thing.
By the way, I feel like, I don't know if you're a connoisseur of transvestigation. I consider myself to be, because I fucking love transvestigation. So if anyone who doesn't know, transvestigation is where people get a cis person and they believe that person is trans, and they'll do something like zoom in on, like when it's women, they often zoom in on their neck and they'll be like, there's an Adam's apple, like not realizing that all women have like a neck, and they will like zoom in on a fold in their trousers or something and be like, there's a penis.
Well, this is one of the things with the cisvestigating thing. One of the comments I saw on Twitter was that it was my clavicles. Like they were saying that that's cisgender women's clavicles, and
your Q. What's your Q angle? That's what I need to know.
I'm just waiting for the drawings to come up where there's a green triangle everywhere.
But the EGI people. So there's the transvestigation is like a basic pastime of all gender criticals and transphobes. They've all done it at least once. They've all transvestigated. Like they were all transvestigating. What's Daniel Radcliffe's girlfriend, his wife, when he posted a photo with her, and they were like, oh, no wonder he supports trans rights. She's a man. And it's like, she's currently pregnant with their child. So if she is, then good for her. And I want to know about that technology. But the EGI people, they're the next level, the elite gender inverts. They believe that everyone is trans. Like Barack Obama, Donald Trump, like the Queen or King or whatever. They think every famous person is trans, but they also think all the famous trans people are cis. So there is actually EGI, and they don't think we're cis, they think we're double inverts, because they call trans people inverts, and then they think famous trans people are double inverts. So they'll be like Laverne Cox is a woman, is an invert, so a trans woman is who transitioned into a man and then back in order to something agenda. Yeah, take over the world as trans people do. So right, let's go through this article. Protesters staged the demonstration outside the Scottish Parliament on Saturday to voice opposition to the UK Supreme Court ruling that the Equality Act's definition of women excluded trans women. I'm shout out to Pink News here. They have posted some bullshit before. In fact, maybe we'll come onto that in a minute, where they're just like, most of the British news articles are like, the ruling just said that women are only biological women, or it just counts for biological sex, without digging into that and being like, well, what is biological sex? The court didn't define it. Why are trans women not biological women? Because we are biological people. What part of our biology is actually important?
It's not biological.
Yeah, exactly. Nonsense. Anyway, they said, rather than saying only counted biological women, they have, at least in this sentence, said excludes trans women. Demonstrators claimed that Scottish ministers had rolled over after Holyrood's MSPs agreed that access to single-sex facilities in the building would be based on biological sex. This is where they need to call it out. Irish comedy writer Linehan took to Twitter to accuse one of the protesters of being cisgender. Failing to clarify...
I think that's pretty bold, still calling him a comedy writer. I think that's far too generous.
To be fair, though, we are all now, thousands of us together, laughing at something he wrote. So, touche to... Probably the funniest thing he's done in ages. Failing to clarify how he came to the conclusion, he shared an uncensored screenshot of the protest, asking his followers, is it just me or is there an actual woman here pretending to be trans? He didn't identify which protest he was talking about. I think that he thinks it was several, because in some of his other comments, that seemed to be what he implied. And there was even some posting like pre-transition photos of some of you, and then someone else replying to that, and then him replying underneath, still confused.
Yep. Yeah, so a lot of I've been quite open about my transition online, and obviously very, very quickly they had photos of pre-transition me, and they were posting them in the comments, but he still couldn't get it. He still wasn't making that connection. And there were people still agreeing with him as well underneath, saying that I'm absolutely a plant.
It's because obviously you faked. It's a deep fake. It'd be something to do. If you're a cis woman and you're wondering what activism you can do, maybe you could deep fake your own pre-transition photos, and then
and have a presence online for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Before getting involved in any activism, and then
it's all about the long game. You just need to waste 10, 15 years of your life pretending to be trans just so you can dupe Graham Linehan in a single tweet. The act of determining a person's gender identity through analysis of their body or mannerisms in photographic or video evidence is referred to as transvestigating. The conspiracy theory often uses sexist preconceptions of gender identity to accuse individuals, typically celebrities or influencers, so you're a celebrity now, of not being feminine or masculine enough. It is also based on the notion that being trans and non-binary is inherently bad and can result in further abuse to those subjected to it. Celebrities that have been transvestigated include Taylor Swift, Michelle Obama, Paul McCartney, Bridget Macron, Melania Trump, Joya Amj, sorry, I don't know that person, and the world's shortest woman. Oh, the world's shortest woman, okay. Also, it includes Shrek. I did a video on this recently. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see it. That's fantastic.
There was someone claiming that Shrek had been feminized. They've got all the like triangles and stuff, you know, like when they put the skull over Shrek's skull as if like a human female skull over Shrek. Anyway, trans people are not usually cisvestigated because the tactic is typically used by those who hold anti-trans beliefs. Post-branded self-owned by trans influencer, prominent... Oh, I'm in here. Oh, okay.
There you are.
Prominent trans influencer, cringe. Should say internet dickhead. Katie Montgomery called Linehan's attempt at an investigation self-owned, saying she had to log into Twitter to check with my own eyes. That's true. I genuinely did have to check that the post was real.
Unfortunately, it was real.
Why did I kind of fortunately? Because it was kind of hilarious. Just on the thing about them all posting, like, I think it's grim that they do this posting people's pre-transition photos. If you've been open about it and you're comfortable with that, then I guess it's it's good that you're fine with it. I know for a lot of people it's uncomfortable, but what I think is so fucking weird is that they have it on standby. They have it like, pow, I know this random like woman from Scotland's entire medical history, and I'm gonna post a little like collage of it all.
Yeah, the fact that they probably have folders on their phone of specific prominent trans people with probably dozens of photos. Anytime that a photo has been posted online, they probably have it in a folder just good to go. Like you said, just to try and get a dig in or an own. It blows my mind that they go to these lengths.
I replied to one of them because they posted like a bunch of information about you and pictures and stuff, and I was like, this is just fucking demented. Like, imagine this being your life. Like, you're such a fucking freak. Like, unbelievable levels of like weirdness here. And
if this is what you're doing with your day all day, is just harassing strangers online, that's not a life. Just go outside.
And they replied instantly, like 15 seconds, with saying like a bunch of information about me. Like, I was just like, I think I don't need to reply to this. You have made my argument for me.
They've still never found my dead name. I'll at least I can say that.
They've got like 3 different
mild
ones.
plus. I'll do that.
They've got 3 different ones for me. And it's quite funny seeing them use them in different places. So, Sugar, that's you. One of the protesters at the event, who Linehan was likely referring to, said, if the Supreme Court can see these women legally as men, then they'll have zero issue with them getting their tops off. The Supreme Court's ruling has raised concerns over the implications in UK law. Interim guidance posted by the EHRC called for the ban of trans people from all gender toilets. While not legally enforceable, it's been used to justify anti-trans policies. Sugar told Pinch News it was not just a setback of humanitarian rights, but an act of erasure, adding, it sends a truly saddening message that trans people's fears, dignity and lives do not matter in the eyes of the Supreme Court. Trans voices were ignored in that decision. That's a very good statement.
Thank you.
I think that it's good that this became like a global thing that people are knowing about. Like you say, there was even articles in New Zealand and stuff. And if you are the kind of person who can withstand the extra scrutiny and abuse, when you get something like this from one of the gender criticals, this is me like saying it to people in the audience who are a bit worried. Look at, like, this is, Graham Linehan is one of their most like horrible people, and he has a huge platform.
Like, the worst of the worst for them.
Yeah, and he has a huge platform, and he's gone directly for these women who have done this protest, and he has like done that fucking Simpsons meme of like Grandpa Simpson's trousers falling down, or like Such a Bob standing on a rake or whatever. Like, he has absolutely humiliated himself, and now that it's to the point where him attempting to attack someone and failing so spectacularly is his own news story. This is now giving the event even more news coverage. It's widening the amount of people who see about it. And
I have to give him a round of applause because, you know, like, he's just keeping it in the news cycle for another day. Like, thank you, Linehan, for being such an idiot.
So yeah, like, how do you I guess, have you got negative and positive feelings from this, or is it all negative, or is it all positive? How do you react to this?
Unfortunately, I do have quite a thick skin when it comes to this stuff online. I'm really good actually at separating what happens online from real life, because these people are not involved in my day-to-day life. These people are not people that I see and speak to. So I'm really good at not letting that get to me.
Good.
But that's happened with time though. Which is terrible. I shouldn't have to say that I'm used to that, you know. But this is something that can happen, obviously. And if you're involved in protest, you will get these people coming, and it could be anything. It could be, like I said, it could be the most mundane thing, and they will just zone straight in on it, and they will be instant with it. You just have to try and ignore these people, because they're not involved in your life. They're not involved in my life. Everything that they say online is literally just a little vacuum chamber. You know, it's not, they're not coming up to me and harassing me every day in life. If they were, it'd be a very different story. But, you know, these people don't have the spine or the backbone.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, I think ignoring them is the best reaction. But before, when some of the like bigger people like Graham Linehan or J.K. Rowling has gone for me a couple of times, and the first time that someone, a huge platform goes for you, it's terrifying. Like someone will type like, did you see that someone or other's talking about you? And you're like, oh God, and you get like an adrenaline rush and you feel sick. And then when that's happened a couple of times and you like, right, finally, I'm ready to approach it. You go up and you read what they said and you're like, oh, it's stupid. Like, oh.
Yeah, it's silly. It's absolute nonsense. It has no bearing on my actual life.
And once it's happened a few times, you're like, you hear it again. Like the last time J.K. Rowling went for me, someone messaged me and I was like, well, I don't have the energy to look now, but I'm not stressed by that. I think we'll see what she said. It turns out that she said something absolutely ridiculously stupid, and I think it just benefited my point. So, yeah, hopefully you feel the same from this.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? But like I said, I originally got tagged in this post, and that was how I first saw it. And when I came onto it and started looking at the comments, it was just backhanded affirmation.
Yeah,
that these people just have zero clue. And again, like you said, everything that they are saying is just so stupid. It doesn't have any bearing in real life. And these people can sit and cry online and to themselves, because that's all they're doing. It's just to each other. People do not take these people seriously.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, other than the UK government, you know, the only people on earth who take gender critical seriously are the Nazis in charge of the country.
The Nazis in charge.
But yeah, I think one last thing that I want to just cover before I let you escape from this tech issue laden nightmare of an interview is
we got there.
We did after about half an hour. We got there, but I think it is important to point out how some trans women do pass, and any attempt to, ban them from anything is like very trivially immoral and unjustifiable, because they are obviously, if someone passes, then they are going to experience misogyny and sexism like any other person who is read as a woman. That's just like an inevitable logical conclusion of that. But passing isn't first of all, it's not binary, and it's subjective, and it's also not like the only thing. I don't know how you experienced this in your transition, but I definitely started getting misogyny before I started like passing. Like that comes first.
So that was the first thing I noticed when I started transition. Even when, like, I mean, I still don't pass every day. Nobody does. Even cis people don't pass. Yeah, exactly. But that was the thing. It was like, as soon as I presented myself to the world as a woman, immediately people, especially men, saw that as, okay, well, you want to be seen as a woman, so I'm going to treat you how I treat every other woman. And unfortunately, that was misogyny. Yeah.
And so I think this idea that sometimes you see these reasonable centrist cis people will be like, okay, well, maybe passing trans people should get rights, but the non-passing ones shouldn't. Like, well, firstly, we can't actually draw a line here. Who's to decide who passes? Are you the passing judge or whatever? Clearly the trans person themselves knows when they start getting treated in a certain way, but also passing isn't what's required. When someone sees someone and they clock them as a trans woman, regardless of how well they're passing, they might pass 99 times out of 100 and they get clocked by someone, or they might never pass and they get clocked. They are still being clocked as a trans woman. Very rarely they're going to look at you and be like, that's a cis man, and then you're like, actually, I'm a trans woman or whatever. Like, because very early on in transition, there are signals that people pick up on, like presentation and all kinds of things, and they do not treat trans women as cis men. They treat trans women as a lesser form of women. And then also, like you mentioned, tied into that, and I just wanted to quickly cover this. So this is Joe Malm from Good Law Project, and he is a cis man, and he is talking about his cis wife. So this is a woman who was born a girl and has not transitioned, and he's saying that she had breast cancer and had a double mastectomy, so she had both of her breasts removed, basically. And he says, this morning, for the first time ever, she was challenged in the changing rooms at the swimming pool. Her breasts were not what make a woman, but breasts or not, she's entitled to dignity and protections from vigilantes. I'm grateful for the responses. This is happening to tens of thousands of women across the country. So like, sometimes cis people do not pass, and we often use passing as like this kind of like yes or no, whether you've achieved something or not. It's literally, it's in the eye of the beholder. And if someone decides you look like a man or you don't look like a cis woman, it doesn't matter. It doesn't just happen to trans people. And, you know, this cis woman is getting confronted over this. And like I think it's always important when we're presenting this, Graham Linehan's stupid because he couldn't tell this trans woman, he thought this trans woman was a cis woman. It's worth noting that they can't ever reliably tell, and it's going to affect cis women, it's going to affect trans women, It affects non-passing trans women, it affects everyone. The whole thing is stupid. So I don't want to give this impression that, you know, we're like, in one position to like lecture.
We're not trying to say that passing is everything, because it's not. And people will treat you the way they're going to treat you by a snap judgment. And if they see you as a trans woman, they're going to treat you with misogyny. And if, you know, like you said, it does affect cis women as well. And as soon as we start policing people's looks, it just always ends up with what boils down to misogyny. Because as soon as you start policing people on their looks, you know, who's going to start, who makes the judgment call of where the line is for when a person looks female or looks male? Like, you can't have that in day-to-day life. It just doesn't work, because people they're not inherently binary. They're just not. Yeah,
it's just not how the world works.
No.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming on and giving your side of the story, and also for laughing at Graham Linehan with me. Is there anything you'd like to shout out? Do you have any like socials that you want to follow on, or are you?
We have just set up a new decentralized, I don't know if that's flipped or if it's the right word for you. It's called Tranny Riot. You can find us on Instagram. If you want to get involved in protest, we will try and post as much as we can, UK wide. But obviously, we're looking for more people to get involved. So, if you search for Tranny Riot Instagram,
has an immediate. Oh, maybe it's gonna be. It's linked to your Twitter and stuff. Maybe I can
you can find it on my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter, it should be on there. Or if you do, /Tranny Riot.
That's a good name.
Thank you.
I don't have Instagram anymore. I don't know if it's going to let me go on here. It is. Excellent. Well, check this out. Is this nationwide or Scotland wide, or?
I think we're just aiming to be completely decentralized. So
okay, wicked.
We will post as much about trans activism as we can.
If you are worldwide,
if you want to get involved, follow.
Yeah, worldwide or on the International Space Station, get involved. And thank you very much. And
thank you for having me.
Future.